fans on their feet. Rally towels are being waved. Brad Lidge stretches. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Brad Lidge does it again and stays perfect for the 2008 season. 48 for 48 in save opportunities, and let the city celebrate. Don't let the 48-hour wait diminish the euphoria of this moment and the celebration. And it has been 28 years since the Phillies have enjoyed a world championship. 25 years in this city that a team has enjoyed a world championship, and the fans are ready to celebrate. What a night. Phil's winning 4-3. As Brad Lidge gets the job done once again.
Some of us know that voice from NFL films. A few of us remember that voice from You Make the Call. That is the incomparable voice of Harry Kalas. And this week on Crafting the Call, we are appreciating Harry Kalas. I'm Josh Suchon from the Albuquerque Isotopes.
I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler with the Lansing Lugnuts. Welcome in. More iconic than the Philly fanatic, Josh.
Yeah, Harry Kalas, a trademark home run call, but really just a trademark baritone booming voice. And even in that first clip that we saw, his iconic call of the 2008 World Series, just always in control, just always calm, even in these big moments, just the ultimate and a voice matching talent coming together.
So much fun to hear his joy at that call, because I'm so used to the vocal pattern slowing down and him declaring something, but you could hear his happiness there. Harry Kalas was born in Naperville, Illinois. He's an Iowa Hawkeye. He gets drafted into the Army, and then he heads off. He's in Hawaii. He's the voice of the Hawaii Islanders for 4 seasons before he gets hired to be the voice of the Houston Astros in 1965. They've opened up the Astrodome, and there's Harry Kalas. And fast forward now to 1971. The Phillies open up the Vet, and there's Harry Kalas, the brand new voice of the Phillies, broadcasting alongside Richie Ashburn. And him and the Hall of Famer Ashburn would broadcast together through 1998. Harry Kalas would broadcast over 6,000 Phillies games from 1971 through 2009 when he passed away in the booth. We're talking about a broadcasting legend.
Both Harry Kalas and Al Michaels both broadcasted games for the Honolulu or the Hawaii Islanders. It's crazy to me that 2 icons would be in the islands, right, who are not from Hawaii. And think about how easy it is to think as a broadcaster, nobody is ever going to hear me out here, right? That I'm living in this beautiful paradise, but how am I ever going to get discovered and to reach my dream of getting to the major leagues? Well, Al Michaels and Harry Kalas both did it.
Islanders fans were spoiled, huh?
Yes.
Let's get into Harry's calls, and let's really dig in to what made him so special, in addition to a voice that you could never forget.
Okay, so we're going to hear one of the most iconic home run calls for somebody reaching a milestone. Before we do that, though, Harry Kalas's home run call was, "It's out of here." And he picked it up because it was something that Larry Bowa said one day. They're watching batting practice. He's down on the field. It's at the Vet. And Greg Luzinski, the big, huge, hulking slugger, hits one way up there into the rafters at the Vet. And Larry Bowa says, "That one's out of here. It's way out of here," or something like that. And Harry, down on the field, said, "I really like that. That really has a good ring to it." And he basically just stole it, borrowed it, took it from Larry Bowa. And it's kind of crazy, Jesse, because you think about how many different broadcasters use the phrase, "It's out of here now." But Harry Kalas was the first, and it happened because of something that Larry Bowa said during batting practice one day.
That, to my mind, speaks to why it's all right for a broadcaster to have a home run call, because it's important for everyone personally to understand what tastes good for them. When you try things out and you say, oh, I like the feel of this. I like the sound of this. And I like Harry sitting there going, oh, let me try this. Yes, this works.
Let's see how it worked for a famous, very famous Philly.
Here's the stretch by Robinson. The 3-0 pitch. Swing a long drive. There it is. Number 500. The career 500th home run for Michael Jack Schmidt. And the Phillies have regained the lead at Pittsburgh 8-6. And the Phillies dugout comes swarming out to home plate.
Boy, what a time. And what a time to pick for number 500. The whole dugout's out there. You don't see Schmidt get very emotional going around the bases on a home run. He jumped on second with both feet. He banged his fist high around third base. The whole bullpen now is coming out. That is a storybook 500th home run, no doubt about it.
You couldn't hit it in a better spot. 2 outs, down to the last out after coughing up a 5-0 lead. Michael Jack has just hit career 500. And even though the 23,000 plus here at Three Rivers Stadium are disappointed at their home team, they give Mike Schmidt a standing ovation. He had a green light on a 3-0 pitch, and he didn't miss it. Number 500 for Michael Jack, and the Phillies lead 8-6.
It was a fastball, Harry, and it was probably on the inside, from the middle of the plate inside, and it was a home run at the crack of the bat. Nobody had to wonder about that one. Unbelievable.
Harry exploded. And I want to start with this. When some people have great voices that they're blessed with, that they're born with, they can coast on those voices and they can really enjoy listening to themselves speak. Harry is exploding here. And I would caution a broadcaster, if you get too big right off the bat, there could be trouble ahead because you've already hit the ceiling before the ball goes. This is fun. This is Harry seeing that this is going to be the home run, and he loses it, which is so good to parallel with Mike Schmidt showing emotion.
I don't know if this was the first time that an announcer said first name, middle name, last name. I'm sure it happened plenty of times over the years, but this might be the most famous example of it. Michael Jack Schmidt. And plus, it's just a name that just rolls off the tongue. And so I think nowadays you talk to like hardcore baseball fans, and if you just say Michael Jack Schmidt, we all know exactly what you're referring to. You're referring to the 500th home run when Harry Callis said Michael Jack Schmidt. Yeah. And so there's just something about the way that he used all three names at this historic moment. And I think that historic moments like this call for reverence. They call for a full name. You know, maybe you call somebody Matthew instead of Matt, right? Where you just really elongate the full name because it's the full scope of what someone has accomplished in their career. And I love the way that he used Michael Jack Schmidt multiple times, then ending it with just a Michael Jack.
I think it can go wrong. I think the broadcaster has to be genuine. And this is so genuine and so personal. Everything about this is connected to everything that you see. And then when Harry comes back and here's the attendance and here's the crowd, and it was a green light, he is filling in everything. It is such a smart call that also taps into the full feel of this. And the pictures really do fill it in, even though this is the radio call.
It's a huge moment of the game. They're about to lose, right? They were down, or they had a 5-0 lead that they blew. And so this is one of those rare moments too, where a historic home run is not a footnote within a game. It's the most important hit of the game. And Harry nails it. And I think of all of the 500th home run calls that exist, in my mind, this is on the Mount Rushmore. This is definitely one of the top 4. It might even be like the number 1 because of what it meant to the game and just the overall brilliance of the call by Harry Callis here.
I think that the emotions of this, that if you're a Phillies fan, how much this feels. And as you say, it does take on that larger form. But I do want to caution broadcasters in terms of using full names. You might not be able to do it as well as Harry does. And that's what we're going to get into. And that's the fun of this, is to say, where do we begin? Where do we go? And what made him so skilled and what made him so loved?
I think it better roll off the tongue when you're going to use all three names.
Yes.
Michael Jack Schmidt rolls off the tongue. It's probably not the first time that Harry used all three names before.
Josh,
right?
what's your middle name?
Abraham.
Joshua Abraham Suchon.
That's a mouthful. I would not advise any announcer to try to say all three of my names if I hit 500 home runs.
Gravitas.
All right. So home runs are really big, but let's listen in on another series of plays that really highlights not just the vocal strength of Harry Kalas, but his actual play-by-play skills.
Stretch by Bedrosian in the pitch. Swing and a base hit to right field. Will Clark rounding third. Dernier's throw to the plate. He's out at home plate. A great throw by Bob Dernier. And the game is still 0-0 here in the 10th.
Here's a ball hit deep. Mitchell has followed with a home run, and the Giants lead it 2-0. So now it's up to Bob Dernier.
Swing, a line drive. It's a fair ball down the left field line, going all the way to the corner. Here comes Stott in to score. Lake being waved around. Mitchell can't pick it up. Lake scores. Here comes Dernier. The throw to the plate. Safe. I can't believe it. The Phillies have won 3-2 in the bottom half of the 12th inning. Incredible. Mitchell could not pick the ball up down in the left field corner. It kicked away from him. Dernier has circled the bases. The Phillies have won 3-2 in the 12th. Would you believe it? Bedlam here at Veterans Stadium when all looked lost. The fighting Phils came back and won 3-2.
Cinematic, huh? With the music and everything else.
Yeah.
I want to get right into the inside the park home run, and we can talk about all of it, but inside the park home runs are tough. They're especially tough when they're multiple run inside the park home runs, because Harry's got to look at everything. We've got a lead runner. Then we've got the second runner. Now we've got Mitchell dropping it. So he does so well at just staying focused. Here's what's clear. Here's one run. Here's the second run. Mitchell is fumbling. He has misplayed it in the corner. Here comes Dernier. I love Dernier punching at home plate. It is a crystal clear call that captures everything that is needed.
Jesse, when we did an episode on Inside the Park home runs, we listened to Dwayne Kuiper, the Giants' longtime announcer, call this play and then also call another play from about 20 years later. And we heard the dramatic difference in Dwayne Kuiper's voice. And so for that episode, we heard Dwayne as the broadcaster of the team who loses the game in this heartbreaking fashion. And now we're hearing the call of the winning team's broadcaster in dramatic fashion. And I think that Harry has this great ability where you can hear his voice getting up, right? He's getting up there. And for most of us, it starts to sound bad. And he has the ability with his voice, when he's starting to lose it, to bring it back down and stay in the moment and not get too high pitched. And then he's able to, again, the word I use is calm. He stays calm when all of these chaotic things are happening. And this is another great example, Jesse, of what happens when you can just keep your eyes on the field. You can say this runner has scored. You can say that this runner has scored. You can say that Mitchell is struggling with the ball in left field. If you were looking down at your scorebook to say that this runner has scored, to say that Mitchell is stumbling with it, that this runner, you're going to miss things. And so on a complicated play like this, so this is paramount of being able to have memorized everybody who's out there.
There's no excess details. Everything is important, right? the throw to the plate, he's out. We don't need anything more than that, really. We understand what's going on. And then right back to Bob Dernier with the throw. So here's who is important. Here is their name. Here is the action. And I think because I'm going to take this a different area. So you went with the vocal range, the pacing. It's so important to listen when Harry talks fast, medium, and when he slows down his words. And when you slow down your words, you invariably have to use fewer words. So the words that you use matter more. And his word choice and what he chooses to focus on matters so much.
This might be the greatest night of Bob Bernier's life.
Yeah.
Throws out a guy at home to keep it 0-0, and then he hits a 3-run walk-off inside the park home run. Maybe that's a sprint off inside the park home run in that case. What a night for Bob Dernier. Remember, this is 1989. This is the year the Giants went to the World Series. Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell. Like, what a devastating night for the Giants. What a night for the Phillies. And, Harry's being Harry. Just fabulous calls.
What's up next?
Let's go to a little bit more modern, not recently modern, but close enough to modern to hear, once again, a series of calls where we can hear Harry being Harry.
Driven to deep left center field. This ball is extra bases. One hopping off the fence. Nunez scores. Rollins scores. Flying around third. Victorino. He scores a bases loaded double. Chase Utley. And the Phillies have taken a 5-3 lead here in the 7th inning. Big clutch blow by Chase.
Well, those bases loaded numbers just went up.
Really?
58 runs batted in now with the bases loaded. He knew they were committed to get him out away, and he wasn't going to let them get him out away. Throws a slider, it hung a little bit, and he crushed that ball to left center. But that's a great job by Utley to get up on the plate a little bit and say, you're not getting me out away. And Victorino, of course, at first base. That was right. Something to watch.
Right on the heels of J-Roll. There goes Chase, and this is chopped to McBride, who throws it. Chase is going to keep going, and he's safe at home plate. Wow. Chase Utley, you are the man. Wow, what a base running play after a bases clearing double, and the Phillies lead it 6-3.
And that's just great hustle. He's trying to steal third on that play. And when that ball was chopped high in the air, that's just him. He just kept on coming. And they got to get the out at first. They don't think he's scoring from third, and then the throw home is too late. That's fun. That's fun to watch. Speed on those last two plays get you more runs. Nothing like it.
Well, Chase gets his teammate Ryan Howard to run bat it again.
I asked my friend Kevin Collins, who grew up in Philadelphia, which plays that we needed to include for this Harry Kalas episode. And Kevin said, you have to use the Chase Utley, you are the man call. And I think that Harry is just so good here with the double. We hear him say, there goes Chase. There's something about when an announcer, I remember Bill King said, Jason Giambi, you are the man, and just how much like A's fans just absolutely loved that. And here's Harry Kalas with Chase Utley, as Chase Utley just shows why he was just such a great, complete, all-around player.
If this was happening in 2024, would he say, Chase Utley, you are him? I really liked, I'm so used to, okay, there's a drive to left center. And I think it would be natural for me to say one hopping the wall. I might say for extra bases. I might not. I might want to wait until I see the batter runner stop at second. I loved extra bases, one hopping the wall. He puts extra bases in first. Then he follows up with the description. I enjoyed that. And then the chuckle in Harry's voice when he comes back in with, Chase just earned Ryan Howard the RBI. That chuckle is beautiful. The enjoyment to it, because we just had some very serious and a little bit self-serious analysis of everything that happened on the play. Chase just earned his teammate Ryan Howard an RBI. That's beautiful.
This doesn't have anything to do with play-by-play announcing, but in the discussions that we're going to be having about Chase Utley and whether he's a Hall of Famer, these are actually the types of plays that make me understand why Phillies fans and other Chase Utley believers, lovers, say that he should be in the Hall of Fame because of plays like this, right? Just even the analysis that we're hearing, he knows that they're going to pitch him away. He's not going to get beat away. He's going to find a way to drive this to left center field. And then he's always thinking about how can I take another 90 feet? And now here's a chopper and I'm going to score. Like those are the types of sequences of plays that don't show up when you're just looking at a baseball reference page and you're comparing Chase Utley to other second basemen, or you're comparing him to other players from his generation. And I think that this is a moment to bring it back to play-by-play announcing. This is crafting the call, about an announcer understanding these are the different things that makes up a complete ball player. This is how you score runs. This is how you help your teammates. This is how you win games. And this is Chase Utley at his best and Harry Kalas being in the moment to describe him.
I would call it delight. Harry is so delighted in watching Chase. Right? This isn't awe. This isn't admiration. This is great.
Delight is such a good word. We should be delighted when we're broadcasting baseball games, Jesse. Like we are so fortunate to be able to do this, to describe this action, especially if we're fortunate enough to be in the major leagues and with a winning team like the Phillies, where we have all of these stars. We should just be delighted to watch them, to describe them, to enjoy the different ways that they play baseball with their skill and with their intelligence.
I mean, I can connect this to Michael Jack Schmidt. It is that nod. It's the broadcaster's knowing little nod across the room to the baseball player. The baseball player can lift the glass, and there is that connection between them, that the baseball player goes out and does amazing things, remarkable things, and the broadcaster then elevates it even more into the fan's consciousness.
All right, so we've heard some plays from different years. Now we're going to get into a whole bunch of plays in a row. We're going to go back to 1980, the National League Championship Series, Game 5, back when it was a best of 5. This is the Phillies at the Astros. I feel like unless you're a Phillies fan or an Astros fan, the 1980 playoffs kind of gets forgotten as one of the all-time greats. But out of a 5-game series, games 2, 3, 4, and 5 all went extra innings. One of the most dramatic series of all time, and it finished with a dramatic finish. And so there's really good people on the internet who have spliced together a whole bunch of different plays. And so we're going to listen to Harry Kalas from about the bottom of the 8th inning on, with a series of dramatic moments in one of the most epic playoff games in baseball history.
1 left on. After 7 full innings, it's Houston 5, the Phillies 2. Oh, a line drive, base hit, left center field. Larry leads off the Phillies 8th with a single. Phillies 6th hit off Ryan. 5-2 Houston. Boa first base, nobody out. Boone will be followed by Greg Gross. Off the glove of Ryan, and it's going to be safe all around. Phillies have 2 men on base and nobody out in the 8th inning. 2 men on base, nobody out, 8th inning. 5-2 Houston leads. Gross a bunt. It's a good one. Nolan Ryan, no play anywhere. A bunt single. Greg Gross, and the Phillies have him loaded. Nobody out. Greg Gross, a bunt base hit. And the Phillies fighting to come back. 3-2 pitch. Wide, ball 4. He walked him. Boa comes in to score. It's a 5-3 ball game. Bases still loaded, and out of the dugout comes Bill Verdon. Ryan leaving the ball game. This is Joe Sambito. Sambito coming on, appearing in his 3rd game. No wins, 1 loss. Little bouncing ball tapped towards second. The throw to second base. They get a force on P. Rose at second. Coming in to score Bob Boone, and it's a 5-4 ball game. Force, who used to be a relief pitcher, then moved into the starting rotation. Struck him out. Schmidt is called out
strikes on a fastball on the outside corner. 2 down in the 8th inning, and Del Unser coming out to pinch hit. Unser, a base hit to right center field. Phillies have tied it. Aviles on his way to third. Del Unser, a pinch single, and this is a 5-5 ball game. What a comeback by the Phils, down 5-2 to Nolan Ryan, but a big pinch single by Del Unser. The 1-strike pitch. Trio, a line drive, fair ball, left field line. Aviles scores. Here's Del Unser being waved around. He's going to score. Manny Trio at third, a triple. Phillies lead at 7-5. What a comeback by this great bunch of Phils. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Manny Trio lining a ball just inside the chalk line, and the Phillies dugout going crazy, going crazy. I'll tell you, this is an incredible comeback against Nolan Ryan, a pitcher who has been brilliant in these situations, but this club just does not die. Triple by Trio. Phillies lead 7-5 in the 8th inning. Maddox hits a fly ball center field. Poole is back there. He makes the catch, but the Phillies bat around, scoring 5 in the inning. 5 hits. No Houston errors. 1 man left. We go to the bottom half of the 8th. Phils lead this one 7-5.
All right, so I'm going to pause it here. We now have the Phillies in the lead to get your initial comments, Jesse.
Great music, great uniform matchup. Little Tequila Sunrise action against the Phillies and the Powder Blues. Looks great. I want to get into Harry going big. So if I were to say to you, quick, name a broadcaster who goes really big, and I don't want to say screamer, but you know what I mean, where the voice gets really loud and you get close to getting out of control, but you're not out of control. I would not have initially thought Harry Kalas is part of this, but Harry does get really big with his highlights.
I agree with you, and I think that I think we have to think about the moment too.
Yes.
Right? The Phillies were a team that was, they were kind of around 500 for most of that 1980 season. And then they basically got hot the last 6 weeks. This is back when there's only 4 teams that made the postseason. The Pirates faded. They were able to outlast the Expos. Now they're playing the Astros. Back then, you play 2 games at home, and then you play 3 on the road. They're in the Astrodome. You're facing Nolan Ryan, and you're trailing in the decisive game. This is not a bunch of Hall of Fame names that we're hearing. Right? We saw Michael Jack Schmidt strike out looking, and he can't believe that he didn't swing the bat. We see Pete Rose walk. Otherwise, unless you were alive in the 80s, early 80s, most of these names are totally unrecognizable. And Harry's in the moment, and you hear him saying the word fighting quite often about how much this team fights, the fighting Phils. And it's just a series of just hit after hit where it's almost like, I can't believe, he doesn't say the phrase, I can't believe this, but you hear that within his voice when he gets big in these moments, Jesse.
Do you want to share more of the backstory about this broadcast?
So I'm fairly certain, but not 100% certain, that this is a recreation of the broadcast. So in 1980, okay, so the television broadcast, let's start with this. The television broadcast is on NBC. Back in 1980, CBS Radio had the exclusive rights to the World Series. So you could only hear the national feed. You did not get to hear your local announcers. Phillies fans were irate that they could not hear Harry Kalas and Richie Ashburn. And so they wrote letters. Back when you wrote letters, there was no email. They called. They complained to the Phillies. They complained to Major League Baseball. They complained to CBS Radio. Their complaints did not lead to any changes in 1980, but it later did lead to changes that still exist now, where the home teams can still have their home broadcast in addition to the national broadcast. So according to Wikipedia, which, as we know, is not always 100% true, but is mostly true, there was recreations from the 1980 season. The games from the World Series, from this National League Championship Series and also from the division clinching over the Montreal Expos. So I'm fairly certain that what we are watching is actually a recreation of a broadcast, although I'm not certain. I have scoured the internet to try to find second and third sources about whether or not this is. But you think about it, we're looking at this graphic right now. WPHL TV 17 scoreboard. This is clearly a television call that Harry is doing. This is not the static of radio. It sounds really clear. So again, I'm almost positive that what we are watching and listening to is a recreation of this game.
Harry Kalas and Richie Ashburn developing the relationship that they had with Phillies fans, and Phillies fans creating such a campaign that things changed and changed the next year. That's significant to me. That's very important to me. And that shows to me the connection that a home broadcast team has with its fan base. And you talked about Harry and what he means to Phillies fans, right? So it is important to have your guys calling your team at the highest level. But as you and I have gone into those historic broadcasts from before this, it would take maybe one broadcaster from one team, one broadcaster from the other team. You'd pair them up with the national broadcast team. Maybe you just have the national broadcast team. This mattered. The Phillies win the World Series. And so to say to the Phillies broadcasters, hey, I know that you didn't get the chance to call this live. Let's do this anyway. Let's recreate this. Here's the video. Let's sit down. Let's do this. What a project and what fun. And it's so interesting to hear that with Harry's voice, right? He's already seen this, assuming that this is a recreation, and now he's getting the chance to voice this.
All right. I have more thoughts about this recreation, but this game is far from being over. So I want to get into more of what happened in this legendary game.
And Tug McGraw. It's up there again. Broken back ground ball. Manny Trio, no throw. A base hit for Craig Reynolds. Breaking ball struck him out. Might have been a slider, a curveball. 9 for 17. Hard ground ball, base hit past the diving Pete Rose. Heading for third base is Reynolds. Harry Poole gets his 4th hit of the ball game. Got him. Struck him out with a fastball. 2 down. Ground ball, base hit, left field. Landeskog punches a single to left, and it's a 7-6 ball game. The Phillies lead down to a run. Jose Cruz coming to the plate. Little punch shot. That's going to drop for a hit. Terry Poole is going to score, and this game is tied at 7. I cannot believe this series. What an up and down seesaw, exhilaration, frustration series. It's been unbelievable. Our ground ball shortstop. Boa flips to Trio for the force at second base. And Houston is down, but they have tied it here in the 8th inning. 2 runs, 4 hits, no Philly errors, 2 left. At the end of 8, Phillies 7, Houston 7.
All right, so I'm going to pause it again here, Jesse, because I will say this. If this is a recreation, it is a phenomenal job that is done by the audio engineers, because we don't hear just like a static crowd. We hear the crowd reacting in real time. And we hear the crowd, what sounds initially like boos, but it's actually them saying Jose Cruz, right? And so in order to get the actual crowd mic and take out the NBC TV announcers' voices and then put in Harry and Richie Ashburn is a phenomenal job of audio editing, because if it wasn't for the Wikipedia entry, I would have no idea that this is a recreation. Again, I'm not 100% certain. I'm about 95% certain that we were watching a recreation here.
This is one of the first times during the show that we've heard one of the great Harry Kalas trademarks, which is drawing out words in a big moment. Struck him out with a fastball. That's what I associate with the Harry Kalas style, is you really taste the word.
There's a couple of times that I've heard him when he's getting really big in a moment, and he'll give himself a quick little pause, and then he'll even use a word like and that kind of slows him down. That helps bring him back down so he doesn't get up here, right? And I think that even when you pause like I just did, I think that gives you a quick little like pause, but words like and that helps the brain think, slows the voice down, and then with his beautiful voice leads him right into the next thought, punching it again.
It's all an instrument.
Mm-hmm. All right, we still got more from this epic game to get to.
Back at the Astrodome in Houston, we see Bill Verdon. His new pitcher is Frank LaCorte. LaCorte appearing in his second game. He's won one of them. Pitching 1 inning, gave up 4 hits, 1 run.
Only fitting.
Boa looper, shallow left field, base hit. Larry Boa knocked down by Cruz. Boa leads off the Phillies' night with his second straight hit. Larry's a base runner. Boone around to Bunty, bunts it nicely to Bergman. Only 1 play to first base. The sacrifice is good. Bob does his job, moves Boa up to second base. Well, figure sometime in this game. Hard ground ball. Bergman has it. LaCorte late to get over, but they get close, and Boa moves up to third base. 100 times over. Ball 4. George Vukovic coming out to bat. Ground ball shortstop. Reynolds throws. Vukovic is out. Phillies retired in the 9th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. We go to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Phil 7, Houston 7. 3 of the 4 games already have gone extra innings. What an incredible series. Bergman, a hard ground ball at Manny Trio. Trio throws, and Bergman is out. That's 1 down of the 9th. 1 down, bottom half of the 9th inning, 7-7. Bouncing ball, Manny Trio. He has and throws, and Ashby is out. That's 2 down in the 9th inning. Dick Ruthven. Fly ball, center field. We're going extra innings. Gary Maddox squeezes it. We're going extra innings for the 4th time in this series. No runs, hits, or errors, none left. We move to the 10th. Phillies 7, Houston 7. The 10th.
All right. As we continue to watch more of this, Jesse, now that we are fairly certain that this was a recreation broadcast, are you starting to get a different sense of Harry recreating this, or what are your thoughts here?
That he's in command, right? He's read the script, so there's a little bit of, we understand what's going to happen. He said we're going to extra innings before he even caught the ball.
Even with this, whether it is recreation like we think or not, the fundamentals of Kalas's play-by-play in that inning about the bunt, does his job, gets him over, only play, he's late covering. I think that fundamentally it's really good. And during that last half inning, I was actually thinking to myself, okay, if I did recreate a game, how would I do it? And in my mind, I would not want to know I would want to try to forget as many of the details as possible. I would not want to know what's coming. I would want my scorebook filled out the exact same way, and I would try to just completely be in the moment, even if I know what's about to come. And I do get a sense that Harry is in the moment of this, that he is, maybe there's a smirk that's going on. Who knows exactly how this recreation was done, in what studio, whether there was multiple takes or whether they just did it all in one. I hope they just did it all in one. But it just feels like the consummate pro who, again, is just really into the moment.
Yeah, I continue to love the chuckle in his voice, because there is that constant little chuckle that you hear about his enjoyment of all of this, that he loves this baseball game. This has been a terrific series, and it's a terrific game to conclude the series.
Well, I'm glad that you keep using the word chuckle, because that is going to be a big part of what we hear next.
Whoever gets into the World Series representing the National League will have certainly deserved it. Foul tip, and he struck him out. What a cut he had. Mike is saying he should have laid off it. Smash over the head of Bergman down the right field line. Unser on his way to second base, and Dello reached with a double. So Unser, a screamer, took a bad hop right over the head of Bergman. And Unser 2 for 2 in this game. At second base with one down, Manny Trio the batter. And playoff payoff. Trio fly ball into left center field deep. Terry Poole makes the running catch. Unser is going to tag and go to third.
Third base coach Lee Elia telling Del Unser to be alive for a wild pitch. Any short pass ball, anything.
A base hit, I believe, Maddox. Yes, it is. Gary Maddox a hit. Phillies take an 8-7 lead. Maddox at second base. Phil's lead 8-7 in the 10th inning. Oh, what a big blow by Gary. Unser scores. There's the dugout. But it's still not over.
Big base hit.
Bo has had a couple of big ones. He hits a line drive and right at Landis-Stoy, and the Phillies are out but take the lead. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. Bottom of the 10th, Phillies leading Houston 8-7. He pops it up, shallow left field. Coming in, Greg Gross. Bo waves him off. Larry squeezes it, 1 down in the 10th inning. He hits it in the air to center field deep, but Maddox is there. 2 down in the bottom half of the 10th inning. 1 more, and the Phillies are in the World Series. 2 away. The batter's going to be Enos Cabell. 2 away.
If he takes this, I'll buy you a Mazda.
3-2 pitch. Swing and a drive right center field. Maddox is there. Phillies are in the World Series. Touches the final out of the game, and look at them, they're in it. All right. The Phillies, after failing 3 previous times, have done it. Look at that ball club. We'll be going down to the clubhouse shortly. The Phillies have 1-10, and they're being mobbed. The Phillies are in the World Series. Bob Boone, a touching scene there with Kenny Bush. What a ball game Boone he had. Look at him.
Unbelievable ball game for Bob Boone here. I can't believe the game he played today. More than any other Philly, in my opinion, he's to be given credit. Gary Maddox, big base hit. Look at Gary.
I'll tell you, a season of ups and downs and highs and lows ends up with the Phillies in the 1980 World Series. Dallas Green hugging Paul Owens, Phillies general manager, in another touching scene. There's the Pope in Dallas. There they are. Paul Owens. It's been their ball club. Paul Owens built this team. He knew they could get there. They have arrived. They're in the World Series in 1980. Oh, Lordy.
Oh, Lordy.
Okay, so the cackle is Richie Ashburn there at the end. And then we also hear Tim McCarver chiming in there as well as part of that final sequence of plays from 1980, Jesse.
I think that this would have made awful announcing.
I agree with you. So there's a couple of things about what we just watched that actually makes me somewhat start to doubt whether or not this is recreation, and then, okay, maybe it is. For the base hit that brings in the go-ahead run, Harry says, I believe that's going to be. That's not something that you would say if you know what happens.
Right? You can just check the play-by-play.
There's also...
Wait, and then Tim McCarver says base hit, as if like they've just gotten the ruling from the official score.
Tim McCarver says at one point about the third base coach whispering into the ear in case of a wild pitch, and it makes me think, oh, we're about to see a wild pitch. But no, we see a base hit. We hear Harry Callis say, there's the dugout. So clearly this is a television broadcast. And the Philadelphia TV station could not have broadcasted this, right? And then even right before the final out, we hear Richie Ashburn say, if he takes this, I'll buy you a Mazda. So I have no idea what was happening right before that, why they were talking about a Mazda, which then leads into the cackle. The cackle makes me think about Richie Ashburn just losing his mind because we just recreated this in a studio as well. So I'm still about 95% that this entire thing was a recreation. I think it's a brilliant recreation, by the way, but I think there's just a lot of just joy and happiness and fun that is all part of this.
WPHL. I come back to Harry on a highlight that Harry, when the Astros were batting, how comfortable he was, how he was relishing everything. But when the Phillies were batting, how whenever anything got big, his words did speed up and he did get big with it. And that he had different gears that he could work with depending on the moment and how he'd react to different things. I found that fascinating.
Okay, so I find this fascinating, Jesse. You've done a different version of a rebroadcast, right? Where you do it old time, where you're broadcasting the game as it's happening, but you're not watching it. So take us through how you broadcast something differently, whether you're trying to generate more energy, more enthusiasm, more miles per hour with your fastball, when you're not seeing it and you're trying to recreate this based on MILB game day.
I actually have a recreation coming up next week. I lose my mind. I do, because I'm so locked into the moment and I know what's going to happen. And I can see, oh, coming up, there's going to be a home run, or coming up, there's going to be a big double play to get this team out of the inning. But my energy is big because I'm supplying all of it. I don't have the atmosphere behind me. I've got canned crowd sound. All I've got is my scorecard that I'm filling out, my bats that I'm cracking together, my ball that I'm slamming into my glove, and this game. And I get so wrapped in it that I do have to tell myself, take it down a little bit. You're getting a little bit too big, because it gets so great and I get so into everything. And when the game ends, I'm exhausted.
And because of what you just said, Jesse, it makes me think that Harry's getting bigger because he's trying to generate something that is not really happening in that moment. He's recreating something that's happening. And so he's trying to feel that moment. And I think that it's a natural, just human reaction to get bigger when you're trying to recreate something.
It's real. The next day when I broadcast and I'm watching the game, it feels so much easier. And I'm relaxed and I can lay back and here's the pitch. It's popped to short. He's under it. He's got it. Everything suddenly slows down. And it's so easy in a recreation that everything speeds up on you. And you're just doing your best to catch up with it. And here we go. And now here's this play. And now here's this play. Because it's all already happened. So you can feel time moving forward.
Okay, I feel like I want to do an entire episode about you recreating games. I want to see video of you. I want cameras. I want GoPros. I want to see like all these different things. But we'll save that for another episode. Let's wrap up this episode about Harry Kalas as we look at the totality of the man's work.
I mean, heck, you and I. This is for later. The two of us could try to recreate a historic game together. Just put it on, mute it, and we would go to work.
Ooh. Just feel like we had a production meeting in the middle of one of our episodes here, but I really like this idea.
This is how it works. Back to Harry. I really enjoy that Harry Kalas is this professional, high-class broadcaster, right? When you turn on a Harry Kalas game, when you listen to any of these highlights, you never say to yourself, well, this is not a great broadcast. It's professional. And it's smart and it's emotional and he's in there with the players. And yet this is a grown man with a grown man voice and a weathered voice that he was in the military. He went off to Hawaii. He's from the Midwest. He's gone to the Astros. Now he's been with the Phillies for decades upon decades. And the resume speaks for itself. And yet that he is having so much fun with it. There are broadcasters who we've listened to and who we're going to listen to, who I don't think had as much fun as Harry did calling a game.
That's an outstanding point. And when you think about, okay, so we watched some of the great moments here in Phillies history. 1980, Michael Jack Schmidt, the great years with the Phillies winning the World Series, there was a lot of really bad Phillies teams, right? I think about 1980s baseball and how many National League cities look the exact same, where it's the exact same ballparks, right? You turn on the game and you're like, is this Philadelphia? Is this Pittsburgh? Is this St. Louis? Is this Cincinnati? I can't tell the difference until I see the uniforms and how monotonous baseball could have been for an announcer in the 1980s. You keep playing the same teams over and over again, interleague play. And Harry has this joy about him. And I think that is a lesson for all of us. With everything that Harry accomplished in his career, we could do entire episodes about his NFL films work, about all of the other things that he did outside of baseball. But he maintained that joy about calling these games and being in these moments.
I think that Richie Ashburn helped.
Mm-hmm.
And we can add in Tim McCarver, that this wasn't a Vin Scully one-man show, and that with NFL films, it's only Harry's voice. But Phillies fans would not only hear Harry's voice, and I want to go back to the Mike Schmidt homer. Harry calls it and then immediately bows out and lets Richie take over, right? And you can hear that boom, 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 the back and forth. That working with a partner for years, that matters. It's the two of you going through these seasons and going through these games and going through a lot of losses together.
What a difference that makes when you truly like each other, when you want each other to succeed. Yeah. And just how that brings joy to your everyday life when you have that type of relationship with your partner.
Hey, Josh, thanks for bringing joy to this conversation.
It was my pleasure. For Jesse Goldberg-Strassler of the Lansing Lugnuts, my name is Josh Suchon of the Albuquerque Isotopes. We appreciate you watching Crafting the Call. Subscribe to our channel, leave us a comment, give us an idea for a future episode, and we will talk to you again next week.